When I see a great old typewriter like this Keyboard Royale from decades past, I think of the golden age of cub reporting. He'd come back, he'd type it up on a machine much like this one right here, and he'd hope. Unfortunately, some of the greatest stories are not being told. You won't find them on the television set. The stories of life in the Christian family. At the Vision Forum, we believe these stories need to be told. And who better to tell the stories than the
Fundie Fridays here on YouTube.
Hi everybody, today I am redoing my Doug Phillips video just because I feel like I can probably make it a little better quality now. If you want to see the original video, it is in a playlist in the info box below. So let's discuss Doug Phillips. His father is Howard Phillips, and he was a founding member of the Moral Majority with Jerry Falwell. He pushed the conservative Christian agenda down everyone's throats in the 80s. But we're not talking about him, we're talking about Doug. So, Doug was a former lawyer for the Homeschool Defense Association, which is a Christian group that provides legal services to homeschooling families. You want to keep the government out of your home and let you teach your kids whatever shit you want, regardless of curriculum or lack of education on the part of the parents. Obviously, I'm biased. There are good homeschooling families out there, but the people that this organization helps are more concerned with religious freedom than actual quality of education. Doug founded Vision Forum's Ministries in 1998. This organization produced Christian educational materials about historical fiction, gender roles, patriarchy, creationism, and the quiverful lifestyle. My favorites are Give Me Your Heart, Son, Thoughts for Young Men, and The Little Boy Down the Road.
You have a seat right over there.
They also hosted creepy conferences where little girls would shave and dress daddy and learn to protect their sexual purity. So, Vision Forum's message is all about making patriarchy great again.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
In fact, when their website was up and running, they used to sell gendered toys like weapons and survival kits for boys and sewing and cooking kits for girls. Doug has even been quoted as saying, "Daughters aren't to be independent. They're not to act outside the scope of their father. As long as they're under the authority of their fathers, fathers have the ability to nullify or not the oaths and the vows. Daughters can't just go out independently and say, I'm going to marry whoever I want. No, the father has the ability to say, no, I'm sorry, that has to be approved by me. Gee, what a fucking tool." I'm going to take this opportunity right now to make fun of his disturbingly wide stance as he officiated a wedding. He looks like he's got a wedgie and he's trying to not so discreetly work it out of his ass without using his hands. And something I recently learned is the bromance between Doug and Peter Bradrick, who is his favorite assistant. Check out Doug's very poetic description of his first kiss. After the vows were read and the bride and groom pledged their troth to each other, they sealed their covenant with a kiss, a very special kiss, the kind you don't hear about anymore. A kiss of purity and innocence. A genuine first kiss. I had the glorious ringside seat to the very first romantic kiss in the life of both the groom and the bride. This is now the 4th or 5th time in my life that I have had the privilege of watching such a first kiss as an officiating minister to a wedding ceremony. Here are my conclusions. First, these beautiful kisses are worth 10,000 sermons. They are an antidote to the cynicism of the age. They are instructive and inspiring. They give hope to mothers and fathers, young men and ladies, and the children we hope will grow up in the purity before the Lord. We are all better off as a community of saints when a pure woman marries a pure man. Our job as parents, elders, friends, relatives is easier because of this godly example. Second, these kinds of kisses are victory kisses. Against all odds, the couple has run the race to the finish line. They have won the first great race of their lives. Victory is sweet. Fourth, they are also covenant kisses. They represent the blessing of God on the faithfulness of parents, their children, and the children yet to be born who will drink deeply from the testimonies of those who went before them. Finally, they are biblical kisses. I call them biblical kisses because these kisses, as much as any part of the wedding ceremony, other than the vows themselves, restore the biblical imagery of the marriage covenant to its beautiful representation of the eternal, holy groom and his spotless bride. Body and soul, bride and groom have kept themselves only for each other. Another prominent family that has been associated with Doug Phillips and his fragile masculinity are the Botkins. Their family runs the ministry Western Conservatory of the Arts and Sciences, which is a pro-family, pro-patriarchy propaganda machine that tours the Christian conference circuit. The patriarch, Jeff Botkin, has actually been referred to as a cult leader. He preaches things like isolationism, victim blaming, and the sinful nature of 5-year-olds. His son, Lucas, is a weird gun rights enthusiast, and his daughters are the OG girl defined. They have written books books about courtship and gender roles and being a stay-at-home daughter.
Because while we want to do the right thing, we also want to do the wrong thing.
They are complicated too. As much as we think about guys, we can often forget that they are people too. Every guy you know also has a sin nature at war against his desire to do right. And what makes this exponentially stickier is that our sin nature has a crush on their sin nature.
Which the stay-at-home daughter movement is a movement that encourages young girls to stay at home, not go to college, not vote, and just worship daddy all day long. They produced a documentary called Return of the Daughters, which actually stars Doug's victim as one of the women who are interviewed.
Travel with Anna Sophia and Elizabeth Botkin into the homes of 7 extraordinary young women who have dared to defy the feminist culture in pursuit of God's plan for daughters.
Doug is also the founder of the San Antonio Christian Independent Film Festival, where you can watch movies like The Monstrous Regiment of Women.
We don't want the father in charge earning the bread and the mom staying at home with the kids. We want it flipped. We want moms to be able to go out in the workforce. In fact, we'd rather have both parents gone and the children in the hands of the state. And again, that just traces right back to Marxism and socialism. It's far better for the state to run everything and decide how our lives will be than for individual families to have that autonomy.
And cinematic masterpiece, Fireproof, starring Kirk Cameron.
I sure don't get it from you.
Because you care more about saving for your stupid vote and pleasing yourself than you ever did about me. Shut up!
Doug has also been associated with fellow sexual predator Bill Gothard. I mean, they do have a lot in common. And speaking of Bill Gothard, in 2010, Michelle Duggar received the Mother of the Year award at a Vision Forum conference.
In the middle of an absolute tragedy of anti-life sentiment, anti-child sentiment, one that has resulted in the fact that you could look around the room here today and 1/4 of the people that should be here are not here because they were aborted.
This conference was actually called the Historic Baby Conference and had speeches like the hopeful theology of miscarriage and why we must be ladies against feminism. In October of 2013, Doug's world came crashing down. He formally resigned as president of Vision Forum after acknowledging a lengthy and inappropriate relationship with his family's nanny. Vision Forum shut down soon after and put out a statement on their website. In light of the serious sins which have resulted in Doug Phillips' resignation from Vision Forum Ministries, the board of directors has determined that it is the best interest of all involved to discontinue operations. We have stopped receiving donations and are working through the logistical matters associated with closing of the ministry. In 2014, Doug's victim, Lord Torres, sued him for sexual battery, exploitation, assault, and fraud, and she also sued Vision Forum for negligent supervision and retention. In other words, she sued them because they knew about this abuse and did nothing about it. Torres claimed that Doug would methodically groom her for years, molest her, and ejaculate on her. After lengthy intimidation on Vision Forum's part, the lawsuit was dropped. I'm not going to go too much into her personal life, but she seems to be doing all right. She went to college and she got married and has left fundamentalism. So, what is Doug up to these days? Well, I shit you not, he makes historical reenactment videos and hangs out with burlesque dancers. If you want to go down the rabbit hole that is Doug Phillips' current life, his name is DW Cinematographer on social media. I hope you enjoyed this video, and there will be a regular Fundie Fridays episode next week. Consensually smash that like and subscribe button, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Patreon if you feel like it, and have a nice day.